our exceptional humorous speech guest, and the rest of the Toastmasters. The best do what the rest are not prepared to do is a motto that I have incorporated into our family. And when I talk to my grandkids, I say, the best do, and they go, yes, Grandpa, what the rest are not prepared to do. That's our little, it's not a joke, but it's a thing that we do. Thinking about that, Grandpa says, I better make sure I practice what I preach. Several years ago, I did the Camino Frances, and that's a hike across northern Spain. It's 850 kilometers, and you do 20 to 30 kilometers a day. Now, on that first trip across Spain, I made 650 kilometers. I slipped, strained my leg, but I carried on walking foolishly, and then had an accident. My plantaris muscle snapped, and I went down like I'd been shot. Now, it turned out when I talked to some of the radiologists, they said, yes, when people come in with that injury, they are looking for bullet holes. Yeah. I had to come home in a wheelchair, and I thought, okay, how do you do this, the best do what the rest are not prepared to do? I went back next year, and I did it again, not the entire route, but I wanted to make sure I finished the last 150 kilometers, and therefore I did a bit of the beginning with a friend of mine. The best do what the rest are not prepared to do. But it was after that trip that I decided to go to Slovenia to see a friend of mine who had been on the hike the year before. And as I was sitting in the airport in Brussels with my Canadian flags on, this is what people tend to do. I love Michael Bublé said when one of the comedians was interviewing at the Olympics, says, why do you have a Canadian flag? After all, you're in North America. He says, well, we have the Canadian flag so that Americans can wear that when they travel. It makes yeah. Stephen Colbert was a little impressed with that answer. And this guy came up to me and he said, I certainly see you're from Canada. And I said, yes, and I just did that hike and I told him about my 2 times. He said, you will love the book, Younger Next Year. I went, wow, that is the one that I wanted. Younger Next Year. He said, you'll love it. And he actually took my name down and had it sent to me. I thought that was nice of him. But in there was the most inspirational message that I had seen. It's called the Kedging Your Adventure Inspiration. And in the ancient days of the sailboat, when the sailors were coming into harbor and there wasn't any wind, they would put a kedging anchor in the boat, row ahead, put the anchor in, and then pull towards it. And that's what you do with a fitness adventure. You put it in to where you're going and then pull towards it. And that's what I just recently did with the Camino Portuguese. I said, well, practice what you preach, Vic. So I put the anchor in, making it to Santiago de Compostela, and then I backward shaped it, and I pulled myself towards that. But I do that in advance. And in order to do it in advance, you have to be fit for the experience. What does fit for the experience mean? It means that you need to be prepared to walk 20 to 35 kilometers per day with your backpack on. So in order to do that, I do the training in advance. Now that's the key to being fit for the experience. Put the anchor in and then pull towards it. I got inspired on that trip because I saw the number of people that were out there enjoying the experience. But one lady absolutely inspired me. I watched her. She went by me every day. Oh, by the way, my strategy on meeting everybody on the Camino is to leave early enough, knowing full well at my speed, everybody will pass me. Oh yeah, and this lady, she goes by, she's got her arm in a sling. Oh, wow. So I just made a note of it. I also noted how tall she was, and I've always admired tall women because having been Canada's national volleyball coach, I always look for tall women. But, and every day she passed. And there I was, 8 kilometers left to complete the hike. And I pulled in the coffee shop and I'm looking to call a cab. It's an advanced strategy. She convinced me that I should do the 8 kilometers. And I said, what's the story on this cast? Well, she said, back X number of kilometers, and it was quite a ways back, I was reaching up into a bunk. And I went to pull on the ladder, and it collapsed. And I landed on my back, knocked myself out, and broke my arm. I had to continue, she said. I don't know why you had to continue. So she arranged then to do what many people do. You become a slack packer. You send your pack ahead in the cab to the next spot. That lady did 650 kilometers. Where I stopped at Santiago, she went another 4 days further to Finisterre. That's an example of having a picture of where you want to be and then pulling towards it. My question to all of us is being fit, healthy, important to your life? Is that important to where you want to be? I would think so. I see some heads nodding. Some heads nodding. But if more people had their heads nodding, I'd feel more comfortable. Put an anchor in and pull yourself towards. Remember, the best do what the rest are not prepared to do.